So one topic that I really try to avoid talking about is when it comes to nutrition is the different types of diets that we have, veganism versus carnivore and everything in between, right? I think most of you might know, I talk about it here and there, very, very little bit, that I am plant-based or vegan. I'm one of the few vegans that don't advocate for veganism in terms of trying to push on other people. And in this video, I'm gonna talk about why. And I'm kind of gonna contrast between veganism versus my thoughts on the carnivore diet. Now, when I first learned about the carnivore diet, it was kind of recently. I think it was like last year. I had never heard of it before. Apparently, it's pretty famous, and a lot of people are, from what I've seen, a lot of people are advocating for the carnivore diet. They're very anti-veganism, saying that veganism is bad for you. It's not healthy. You can get all your nutrients from meats and dairy, and that I guess either the media or the government or both are trying to trick us and are advocating for things that are not healthy. And so I'm reading this, and of course I'm shocked. I'm like, this is completely opposite of everything that I've ever learned, everything that I've ever studied. Like, I just could not believe it. But one of the things that I really try to do is when I'm approached with information that goes against what I already believe, instead of just being automatically defensive over it or trying to push back against it, I try to see what they're saying and see how they're getting the information from, and trying to see from their perspective what it is. Now, there isn't a whole lot of research when it comes to the carnivore diet. All I pretty much have seen are just anecdotal evidence in terms of like people that have experienced a lot of positive effects from switching over to the carnivore diet. When I look at a lot of YouTube videos when it comes to the carnivore diet, I'll see like in the comments so many people talking about how they were healed from this autoimmune disease, and healed from this or that, just all types of like positive things about how the carnivore diet just has completely changed their life for the better, and they're just feeling so much healthier and the best they've ever been. Now I go to the vegan side, and it's kind of exactly the same thing. When you read their comments, it's the same thing. Oh, I just turned vegan, or I've been vegan for 10, 20, whatever, how many years. I've been the healthiest I've ever been. I'm feeling great. I've been healed from my lupus, and I've been healed from this disease and that disease. And so on both sides, on both comments, they're both talking about how they've been healed from their diseases, how they're feeling better and healthier, and they're both kind of, honestly, what I see, demonizing the other side. I go on the carnivore side, and they're talking all types of smack about the vegans and how they don't know what they're talking about, and have all this misinformation, and they're telling you the wrong stuff, and they're lies. And then I go to the vegan side, and they're saying the exact same thing about the carnivores. Oh, they're telling you lies, and meats are carcinogens, and they're just back and forth. There's negativity spoken on both about each other. And so I'm sitting there and seeing both sides of it. And for me, from my personal experience, like I said, the reason why I became vegan, I won't talk about this in this video right now, but I will just say it has to do with ethical reasons and for health reasons. But for me, that's my own personal subjective experience and my own beliefs. I'm not the type of person to try to guilt people into a certain way or try to persuade people into a certain way. All I try to do is give information, and people can take it as they want to. One thing I will say, though, when it comes to the carnivore diet versus the vegan versus everything else, I do not believe that, even though I am vegan, I don't believe that any specific diet is the best for every person. I feel like when it comes to health and nutrition, it's a case-by-case situation. So just because I feel the best that I've ever felt and the healthiest that I've ever been in my entire life being vegan, I will not say that that's going to be the case for everybody. I feel like you can be a vegan ethically, but you still eat meat because maybe your body has a different biological, chemistry, whatever, that's going to cause you to need to eat certain types of meats. I'm not an expert when it comes to nutrition, but from what I've seen and experienced, I do feel like it's a case-by-case situation, and that what's right for me is not going to be right for everybody. So I know when it comes to like veganism and vegans, they really wish that the whole world would just turn vegan and nobody would eat meat anymore, and we would all just eat plant-based foods. And then when I see the carnivore side, they're probably thinking the same thing, that we should be eating meat because that's how our bodies are made, and so forth and so forth. But for me, I feel like both sides are right and wrong at the same time. I feel that when it comes to this whole debate, whether it's veganism or carnivore or omnivore, whatever you're going to choose, you have to choose what's best for your health and take all the factors into account and see how you feel and see how your blood work comes back and the tests come back, and you kind of have to see what's best for your body. Like I said, for me personally, I can only speak about how I have reacted to becoming vegan, and for me it's been a complete 180. I can't ever imagine myself going back from this because, like I said, this is the healthiest I've ever been in my life. But I cannot say that that would be the case for the person next to me, because the person next to me, they might be vegan and, you know, maybe they're starting to become deficient in something. But I will say, I know what the vegans will say. The vegans will say, oh, they're doing it wrong, right? You're not eating, when you're a vegan, you have to eat a lot of different types of things, and you can get all your nutrients from plants, except for maybe vitamin B12, but other than that, you don't really need supplements. You can get all your foods and everything. And I've seen a lot of healthy people that are completely, completely perfect with, just eating completely a vegan diet. Like I said, just from what I've seen, both sides, there's evidence on both sides. One reason why I would lean more towards the vegan side is because I feel like there's more data on that side than there is for the carnivore side. Because what I'm seeing is that there's no long-term evidence suggesting that a carnivore diet will lead to an overall longevity, healthy life. And I have seen, at least for vegetarianism, maybe not veganism, but there are a lot of studies that have been going on for years that have shown that eating a more plant-based diet, maybe not 100% plant-based diet, but a more plant-based diet will lead to a longer, healthier, fulfilling life. I know there are studies, you can research it. I know there's Adventist studies that show that, and you look at different parts of the world who live the longest, and they're usually more plant-based than they are carnivores. But that's not to say that, if you're a carnivore your whole life, you're going to die at 30 years old. You might live to be 100 years old. So, what I'm saying? It's all in the air, anecdotal, it's hard to say. But that's just my personal opinion. So that's why in my videos, even though I am plant-based, I don't necessarily push it on anybody or advocate for it, because it's for my own personal health and my own personal ethical values that I hold myself. But everyone's different. Everyone has their own, life situations, and we can only do the best that we can with the information that we have and try to live our best and healthiest lives. I'm not going to sit here and try to push anybody in any direction. The only direction I try to push people in is to try to make the best decisions you can and try to live the best you can and the healthiest you can. And aside from the nutrition aspect, obviously trying to get that exercise in, drinking water, getting proper sleep, managing your stress, and all those other things. So hopefully this was some informative for you guys, some helpful, and now you guys get a little more insight to my perspective on this whole carnivore versus veganism debate, where I stand and why I stand where I stand. So with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.